Traoré is under attack, but is he standing alone? Julius Malema said no. He declared, "We are all Traoré. To attack one Traoré is to attack all of Africa."
Stand with Traoré because we know that Traoré stands for the unity of Africa. We are Traoré, and Traoré is all of us.
But who is he trying to warn? Let's find out. Throughout Africa's long and battered history, moments have arrived when hope flickered briefly before being crushed under foreign boots. Heroes emerged, spoke for the voiceless, and were silenced with bullets or betrayal. Every generation has known this pattern, but every generation also carried forward the memory that liberation has always come at the cost of sacrifice. Ibrahim Traoré stands as the next chapter in this memory, and as Julius Malema warned, this time the ending will not be dictated by Western powers. Traoré is not the product of polished diplomacy or Western grooming. He did not rise through networks funded by foreign think tanks or whispered into power by foreign advisors. He emerged from within the storm itself, from the reality of a broken system that served external masters while abandoning its people. In Malema's words, Traoré is one of us, not a ruler from above, but a brother from within. He embodies something that terrifies old empires, an African leader who is both unbought and unbreakable. And in doing so, he has become a symbol far larger than the borders of Burkina Faso. The West, blinded by arrogance, believes that neutralizing Traoré would be like erasing a problem from a chalkboard, swift, clean, and final. But they misunderstand the nature of the storm they are facing. As Malema firmly stated, if they kill Traoré, they will face a war from the people themselves. Traoré is not a solitary figure. He is the lightning rod for a thundercloud that has been forming for generations. His leadership is not just admired, it is felt in the blood of the young, the poor, the forgotten, those who have been waiting, often hopelessly, for someone to finally stand up and refuse the deals signed in dark rooms thousands of miles away.
The same United States, which is furious at being cut off from the riches of Burkina Faso, cannot tell us what to do. We stand with Captain Traoré. We stand with Traoré because we know that Traoré stands for the unity of Africa. We are Traoré, and Traoré is all of us. If they kill Traoré, you must know they would have created another wound in the continent of Africa. We must defend him the same way we defend the unity of Africa.
Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. What they fail to understand is that Africa today is not the Africa of the Cold War, nor is it the submissive Africa of puppet regimes. There is an anger simmering just beneath the surface, a collective memory of every resource plundered, every leader assassinated, every revolution hijacked. Malema captured this when he warned that Africans today are ready to stand in front of the oppressor, no matter what. Traoré's existence is proof that the old methods of control, assassinations, coups, economic blackmail, may no longer work as they once did. If they were to attempt to remove him through force or conspiracy, it would not end the rebellion. It would scatter it into a million pieces, each one a weapon against the oppressor. Traoré's defiance has reignited the spirit of leaders who came before him and were betrayed. The visionary Thomas Sankara, the defiant Patrice Lumumba, the unbowed Muammar Gaddafi. Each time such men rose, the West responded with bloodshed. Each time they assumed Africa would simply bow again, move on, and forget. But they miscalculated the depth of the scars they left. They failed to understand that the graves they filled were not endings. They were seeds. Today, those seeds are sprouting across the continent. Traoré's Burkina Faso is only the beginning. The cries of unity echo through Mali, Niger, Guinea, and beyond. Borders drawn by colonial hands are starting to blur, replaced by a deeper allegiance to the idea of African sovereignty, one that demands real control over land, wealth, and destiny. As Malema called upon us, we are being urged not just to defend Traoré, but to defend every inch of Africa that is still under siege by foreign hands. In the villages, In the cities, in the universities, in the militaries, there is an awakening that cannot be silenced with a headline or a helicopter. Africans are no longer asking to be respected, they are demanding it. They are not requesting a seat at the table, they are building their own table and setting it on African soil. Remember, if there is a single lie that has survived every generation of colonialism, it is the myth that Africa must somehow earn the right to own itself. Foreign powers have acted not as partners, but as landlords, treating African nations as temporary tenants in a home that was never truly theirs. Today, Malema tears that lie apart with ruthless clarity. In his words, Africa does not belong to Trump. It does not belong to France. It does not belong to Elon Musk or the boardrooms of Wall Street. Africa belongs to its people, and it is long overdue that this reality is enforced.
Donald Trump is an enemy of him. Donald Trump can stay with his America, but this continent of Africa belongs to us. Let us not be cowards like Winnie Mandela. Let us stand up and confront the imperialism of America. Let us challenge America. Let us challenge the stupidity of America. Let us not be intimidated by America. America is the enemy of progress in the world. The EFF must lead the liberation of Africa. Elon Musk will never come and open his business here in South Africa as long as he doesn't surrender 30% to...
The structures of ownership that chain Africa to foreign masters are both visible and invisible. The corporations that extract gold, oil, and rare minerals without building schools, without paving roads, without respecting communities, are the visible face of the theft. But deeper, more insidious, are the financial systems, the trade agreements, the foreign military bases disguised as security partnerships, all carefully designed to ensure that no matter how rich Africa becomes on paper, it remains poor in reality. Malema's warning cuts through the polite illusions. These powers are not here to uplift Africa. They are here to extract, to dominate, and to dictate. Every time an African leader refuses, every time a country tries to chart its path, the backlash is swift: destabilization, sanctions, engineered coups, character assassination. These are not the actions of friends, they are the reflexes of colonial masters desperate to retain their stolen power. Traoré's stance, therefore, is not just about one leader refusing exploitation. It is a broader declaration that Africans will no longer be content with mere survival, while their wealth builds skyscrapers in Paris and bankrolls elections in Washington. In standing firm, Traoré embodies the principle that ownership must mean full, unapologetic control. Not shared control, not symbolic representation, but real, economic, political, and cultural sovereignty. The ownership question goes deeper than resources. It strikes at the heart of identity itself. For centuries, Africans have been told what systems to adopt, what languages to speak, what gods to worship, and what acceptable forms of governance to pursue. Even now, Western governments and media outlets lecture African nations about democracy and human rights, while themselves engaging in wars, corruption, and economic crimes on a scale Africa has never matched. Malema's voice rises against this hypocrisy, reminding the world that dignity cannot be outsourced, and that respect is not a gift, it is a demand. And the terms of ownership are changing. No longer will deals be struck behind closed doors with leaders who have no mandate from their people. No longer will Africa's youth be sacrificed for IMF loans that chain their future. Malema made it clear, any business that comes to African soil must involve the local people, must uplift the community, must treat Africa as an equal partner, or it will be driven out. This is not an act of isolationism. It is not about hatred of foreigners. It is about ending the age where Africans are perpetual beggars at the banquet table of their wealth. It is about demanding what every other continent claims without apology: the right to be the masters of their land.
No one must come and do business in our country without involving our own people. No one must come to Masilonyana and open business, get a tender in Masilonyana and not involve the people of Masilonyana. We want the people of Mangaung. We want the people of Free State to benefit directly, not only on business. When there is a contract to build a road here, you must ask a question. You, the branch chairperson of the EFF, how many locals have you employed in this project? And if the locals are not enough, you must stop that project and demand that they employ more locals, because that project belongs to you. Comrades, we must fight unemployment. Our people are unemployed. The youth of South Africa, many of them have given up on looking for employment. When they've got 50 rand or 100 rand, they prefer to spend it on a bread instead of spending it on a transport to go and look for a job. They are discouraged because there are no jobs created in South Africa, and the ANC has got no plan to create jobs in South Africa. Only the EFF will create jobs through expropriation of land without compensation. Only the EFF will create jobs through nationalization of mines and strategic sectors of our economy. Only the EFF will create jobs by beneficiating the minerals here in South Africa. Only a brave government can create jobs when it's prepared to confront the monopoly of white people in the economy of South Africa.
Moreover, ownership means confronting the false narratives that keep Africa trapped in dependency. Africa is not underdeveloped because of bad luck or incompetence. It was deliberately underdeveloped. Centuries of plunder, slavery, divide and rule tactics, and corporate exploitation have shaped the realities African nations inherit today. The blame lies not with the victims, but with the architects of misery. Just like Malema Traoré's refusal to accept foreign aid laced with conditions is part of a broader strategy to break free from the cycle of manufactured poverty and to build African solutions for African problems. The symbolism of ownership matters too. Flags, constitutions, and independence ceremonies mean little when the resources beneath the soil are sold by foreign companies, when the banks that hold African wealth are in London and Paris, when the military bases flying foreign flags dot the landscape like reminders of unfinished conquest. True ownership will mean dismantling these symbols of dependency, replacing them with structures that serve African needs first. Malema's call is radical because it is honest. It refuses to pretend that the existing system can be reformed into justice. It recognizes that true ownership will require confrontation, sacrifice, and unity. It recognizes that Africa cannot simply ask for permission to own itself. It must take that ownership, boldly, unapologetically, and permanently. As Traoré defends his nation's right to control its destiny, he is not acting as a rogue leader. He is following a tradition of liberation that predates colonization itself. And as Malema emphasized, this moment must not be wasted. It must become a continental awakening, a coordinated movement to reclaim not only the gold and oil, but the very soul of Africa. The question that now burns across the continent is no longer whether Africa should own itself. The real question is, what price are Africans willing to pay to finally take it back? And are they ready to fight for it, no matter the cost? If Africa is to reject exploitation, it must do more than resist. It must create. Resistance alone, while necessary, is a beginning, not a destination. The true test lies ahead, whether Africa can stand not just against the forces that seek to plunder it, but also stand for something greater, an Africa that builds with its own hands, feeds its people, protects its future, and honors its spirit. This is the path Julius Malema calls us toward, a path that demands unity, courage, and above all, an unshakable faith in ourselves. The West has long relied on a simple strategy to dominate, divide, and rule. Tribes against tribes, nations against nations, leaders against their people. Every artificial border drawn on the map was a knife aimed at African unity. Every conflict fanned by foreign interests was designed to prevent the one thing the West fears most, a united Africa speaking with one voice. Malema knows this history intimately, which is why he emphasizes again and again, we must unite, or we will continue to be conquered, piece by piece. Unity is not a slogan. It is a revolutionary act. It means seeing through the colonial divisions imposed upon us. It means understanding that the struggle of a farmer in Burkina Faso is tied to the struggle of a miner in South Africa, a fisherman in Senegal, and a student in Uganda. It means realizing that if Traoré falls, no African leader who dares to dream of sovereignty will ever be safe again. It means understanding that when they come for one of us, they are coming for all of us.
Let us adopt the Pan-Africanist of Thomas Sankara and work our own land while we refuse to pay colonial tax. Let us live by the Pan-Africanist of Julius Nyerere and build a nation that is self-reliant and works together as a collective for the greater good of the Mother Africa. Let us walk side by side and be arrogant in the need for African unity and undermine imperialism wherever it raises its ugly head. It is Pan-Africanism which will liberate us and liberate the whole of Africa. It is time for us to resist this pain and give Africa a future of happiness. Let us march together towards the liberation of our victory. Whether they hate us for this policy or not, we must fight for the unity of the African people.
But unity alone is not enough. It must be fused with a project of construction, political, economic, cultural. We must build institutions that serve the people, not foreign banks. We must educate our youth not just to seek jobs from corporations, but to become builders, inventors, defenders of their own destiny. We must cultivate a media that tells African stories with African voices, not through the filters of Paris, London, or Washington. This is why Malema's words are so urgent when he says Africa must take back its resources, not to sell them to a new set of masters, but to use them for African needs first. It is no longer acceptable for Africa to export raw materials and import finished goods at 10 times the price. It is no longer acceptable for African youth to drown in the Mediterranean Sea, chasing dreams manufactured by Western media, because their own countries were robbed of opportunity. The Africa Malema envisions is an Africa that does not ask permission to exist. It builds its own factories, its own universities, its own armies if necessary. It negotiates with the world as an equal, not as a beggar. It is an Africa that values the richness of its soil, its people, its culture, not as commodities for sale, but as treasures to be nurtured and protected for future generations. And Traoré's leadership is proof that this vision is not a fantasy. It is already beginning. Burkina Faso, under relentless pressure, is turning inward to rebuild from within, refusing the poisoned handouts of those who once enslaved it. This is a signal to every other African nation. The road is hard, but it is possible. The chains can be broken. The destiny can be reclaimed. However, the enemies of African unity and rebirth are not sleeping. They understand the threat posed by an Africa that controls its destiny. They will send agents to sow division, to spark new conflicts, to buy off weak leaders. They will use propaganda to paint self-determination as insurgency. They will weaponize the fear of failure to paralyze new beginnings. That is why vigilance is crucial. As Malema warned, Africa's enemies will not stop because we demand justice. They will only stop when they are made irrelevant by our strength. Every African citizen has a role to play, to educate themselves, to resist division, to hold their leaders accountable, and to refuse to be pawns in someone else's game. Unity does not mean uniformity. It means solidarity. A solidarity rooted not in blind loyalty, but in shared destiny. Different languages, different histories, different cultures, all must find common cause in the dream of a free, proud, and prosperous Africa. The stakes could not be higher. If we fail to unite and build, we risk watching the same old cycles repeat under new flags. But if we succeed, if we truly unite, truly rise, we will build an Africa that no empire can intimidate, no corporation can exploit, and no assassin can silence. The time is not tomorrow. The time is now. Will we rise, or will we fall back into silence? Let us know in the comment section. Will we reclaim what is ours, or will we surrender again to the comfortable chains of dependency? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.